So Maria, tell me your story.
Hi. Wow. Wow. I'll tell you just my story for the last couple of years. Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. So I was into conspiracy theories a little bit, 9/11, blah, 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 all this stuff. I did
So
not.
wait a minute, let me interrupt.
Oh,
When you
yeah.
say you were into conspiracy theories like 9/11, are you talking about the official story, which is a
Yeah.
conspiracy theory,
Yeah.
or are you
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about
No,
looking
no.
into the truth
The
and
official. The official.
analyzing? Well, the official 9/11 story
Yeah.
is a conspiracy theory. You and
Exactly.
I are conspiracy analysts. We're
Analysts.
looking at the baloney that they told us on the news, and we're analyzing it to find out that's a conspiracy theory. The truth about 9/11 is nothing like they told us. So let's everyone change your vernacular. We're not
Yeah, you're
conspiracy
right.
theorists. We're conspiracy analysts. The definition of a conspiracy is a bunch of baloney put out there with no proof, like what they told us about 9/11. The official story is the conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
No,
Continue.
that's fine.
And I'll probably
And
interrupt again. But go ahead.
what's going on? I never questioned the shape of the Earth. Never.
None of us did.
Okay, cool. And then after COVID happened, whatever, very, very early in the beginning, I said, something's not right. I mean, very early, like the first month. And this virus is, behaving in very, very weird ways. I mean, nothing we've ever learned about viruses apply to this thing and what's going on. And so that was the beginning when I found out that such a huge, huge manipulation happened, around the world simultaneously by all governments, all countries. Then I said, it's very easy that we have been lied to, about other stuff also. So then I started going into the germ theory and terrain theory. And then, I found out that there are no germs. And then I said, you know what? Probably the Earth is also flat. So, but I was really nasty to people who were saying that, that the Earth was flat.
You're telling our story. We all said that we all have the same story.
I know your story. Yeah. Really nasty. Anyway, so yeah, I've researched. I've seen almost all your interviews. Everybody else. I have like 20 different channels that I'm following. I've done my research. So I wanted to interview primarily for my benefit because I have some questions that I would really like you to answer, but also because I want to, post that on pictures as I said. I would like you to first, start with, introducing yourself just a little bit and just give us a very, very brief synopsis of the flat Earth model. So, other people who have no idea can.
Where are you located
follow.
Again? Where are you located?
Sorry. Where
are you? Yes.
I'm in Greece, Athens.
Okay. So all of our senses, common God-given common senses, tell us the Earth is stationary, it's level, it's not moving. This is a video from a balloon at 127,000 feet. The Earth is supposed to be spinning 1,000 miles an hour below it, but that's not the case at all. So we're told that the Earth is a spinning, wobbling ball flying through an infinite universe. And we're told this before we can even
say our names.
Yeah, before we can even talk. Thank you. And the model that they tell us is what most people that believe in the globe don't even understand. This is the model that you think you live on if you live on a globe, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, right? That's unbelievable. And that speed doesn't even compare to the orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. All of these motions are going on at the same time. And there's no evidence of it. There's no change in the stars. Go out tonight at a certain time, take a picture of the stars, put a mark in your calendar to remind you to do the same thing a year later, 10 years later, same night, same time. every star will be in the same position. How is that possible? We're moving through a universe that is absolutely, the distances are unimaginable. And since you're unable to imagine them, you're unable to process the thought.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore, you just kind of give up and go, oh, well, a guy in a bow tie with a white lab coat told me. And therefore,
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the flat Earth if it's not that? Well, they tell us Antarctica is a continent on the bottom of the ball, but if you Google Antarctica from space, all you'll get is cartoons. There's no images of Antarctica from space. So what is Antarctica? This is the way I see the world. We live in a pond, a giant pond. All of our oceans together are a pond. A pond, a lake, a body of water is contained by the land that surrounds it, right? If you go down to a pond, a lake, look at it, and you'll see that the land is consistently higher than the water. It's the container. It's giving the water its lateral pressure, right? If the water doesn't have lateral pressure, it just goes until it finds its level. Water is level. Large bodies of water at rest lay level. So here are all the continents. They're all surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by Antarctica. Antarctica is not at the bottom of a ball. It's the land that surrounds us. Okay? And people are like, well, how come no one's ever gone to the edge? Well, that's not true. Probably millions at this point of people have gone to Antarctica. There's bases in Antarctica, but they're all along the edge. Antarctica is high. It's cold. It's frozen. There may be warm places in Antarctica. There's evidence of that. Admiral Byrd, with his trip out there in the 1950s, said they found warmer land bigger than the United States that no human has ever stepped foot upon, right? But they want you to believe that the edge of the world is this. And they show you stuff like this, ice wall, and this will come up. This isn't what any flat earther believes. This is only what globe believers think flat earthers believe. Okay? But there's video, there's all sorts of stuff from Antarctica. And it's Antarctica is very guarded, and you can spend a minimum of $10,000 or way more to go there. They just take you to that little peninsula off of Santiago, Chile, which is still, it's gigantic islands, and they tell you that's Antarctica, but they don't let you explore the outer lands. Here's Antarctica from space. These are all cartoons. Why don't we have any, satellite? Again, satellite images aren't real. They're all from balloons and high-flying aircraft. There are no satellites falling around the Earth. We can talk about that when you ask your questions. So if you have a body of water, right? If you go out to a calm lake and you look at it and say, okay, how do I describe the surface of that lake? Is it a U? Is it an arc? Or is it flat? Well, it's flat. Then you imagine that lake 10 times bigger. Is it still flat? Or is it a U? Is it an arc? Or is it still flat? Flat. Bigger you get, flat, 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 flat. We've tested big lakes. We've gone, 26 miles, 40 miles, even farther across lakes with lasers, and it's flat. There's no curvature. So how do you have flat water on a curved ball? Yeah, it makes no sense. Then people say, well, what about images of Earth from space? Well, these are different space agencies. Do you think any of these images are real? None of them can be real, right? None of them are real, because if one of them was real, the other ones are fake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all different. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all different. And people say, well, they didn't have Photoshop back then. Well, let me ask you a question. Here's two photographs. Do you think you could paint this photograph with the reflections and everything? Do you think somebody could accurately paint this to fool you to think that painting was this photograph?
Yep.
You do think it?
Yep.
Oh, well, this is actually a painting. Okay, this is a painting. Just Google photorealistic paintings. You'll be amazed at the talent some people have using their.
No, I mean,
Anyway, so my question, my answer is the point of the thing is
the difference sometimes.
If you're an artist,
it's realistic.
This might take you, I don't know, days or weeks to paint very carefully. This one you could probably do in a drunken stupor in 25 minutes. Okay. This is a painting. They admit it's a painting. Okay.
I watched the interview from that guy who's doing the CGIs and Photoshops.
Right.
You know,
Robert Simon, and who created the blue marble. And he said,
and he said, it's Photoshop, but it has to be.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
why on earth does it have to be Photoshop?
Right, because there are no photos of Earth. Everyone, the globe believers, believe there's photos of Earth, but NASA says there are no photos of Earth, except the one taken from the moon. But that one, when we look at it in Photoshop, there's a box around it. It's clearly placed in there crappily. They had horrible, cut and pasters back then. So that's what the flat Earth is. What's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica? We can argue day and night. There's nothing else. There's a dome. There's more land. There's more ocean.
Wait. I'll take you there. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So as we're still on the model, could you give us a perspective on speeds and distances? Because you're absolutely right. We have no idea what a trillion seconds is. How
All right, so you want to talk about the distances? So we're going to use some science.
I need a perspective because I was blown away.
Yeah,
you're right. Our brain cannot process numbers. So
right. So they don't teach us to process large numbers. We hear trillions. We're in trillions of debt, trillions of this. And we don't realize how big a trillion is. And if someone hears a light year, well, it's only one light year. There's
exactly. It's a year. It's a light year.
Yeah, the distance light travels in a year. It's absolutely ridiculous. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away, and that's the closest. The other ones are magnitudes farther. 25 trillion. So a trillion seconds, just for perspective, is the answer.
Yeah.
31.
But you can still give me a Bitcoin if I say the correct answer.
If you guess it within a day, I'll give you a Bitcoin. Go ahead.
31,000 years.
Well, no, you're off by somewhere within a year, not as close to a day. It's 31,000 years. Okay, 31,000 years. Think about that. A second. If I paid you $1 every second, it would take 31,000 years. Okay, forget about it. Okay, and then. So if you're traveling to that star at a mile per second, which no one's ever gone, in 31,000 years, you're only 1/25th of the way to that star. And forget about traveling to that star anyway, because it's in impossible fake space. You can't have gases in a vacuum. They spread out. Gases fill the available space. But somehow after the Big Bang, all the rocks turned into planets and all the gases decided to stick to each other and create nuclear furnaces. Okay? Gravity.
Negative, dark energy and dark matter.
Well, they make all that up. They make all that up just to make you...
They don't change the model. They invent more concepts.
Right. And whenever I hear that, all I say is, cool story, bro.
Yeah.
Cool story, because that's all they have is cool stories. So.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So that gives you an idea how, just real quick.
Unfathomable,
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Unfathomable.
You can't have air pressure next to a vacuum. There is no curvature. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. That's enough. You can't see stars at the distances they tell us, right? The sun is 8 light minutes.
I have a question about that.
Go.
Do they say that in the space of in the vacuum of space, light can travel indefinitely? Is that one of the reasons?
They say light.
Light from
light just travels. That's not true. Sound spreads out. So if I was right in front of you talking to you, my sound is hitting you. But if you were 100 yards away, that sound spreads out and you're barely going to hear me. If you were a mile away, the sound spreads out so much you don't even hear me. Mm-hmm. Okay? Light does the same thing. So if you have this amount of light, so let's say any point on this ball of light, any point on this ball of light is 1 lumen. Well, if the light spread out to here, well, that 1 lumen, that little square inch that's 1 lumen, is now 9 square inches.
Yeah.
And it still has a total of 1 lumen. So it's lighter. Every time you double the distance to a light, it's 1/4 of the brightness.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hardest equation I'm going to give anybody today. Double the distance is 1/4 of the brightness. So if it's 1 lumen and I make it twice as big, it's 1/4 of a lumen, right? And then it just diminishes from there. And the analogy I use is if you have a balloon, just with a tiny bit of air in it, not blown up, the rubber is the light. Blow it up to 1 foot wide, that rubber is thinner. Blow it up to 5 feet wide, it's really thin. Blow it up to 10 miles wide, could you even detect? Yeah, you couldn't even, the amount of substance, so light spreads out. But in heliocentric Narnia space, light just goes like a laser beam and fills every aspect of space. It doesn't make any sense. Imagine the ball is just a million lenses on a laser. And so they're all close together and the whole ball is just pure laser. Well, if it's this big, those laser beams are now only dots on that bigger sphere and go bigger. Now they're dots with huge amounts of space in between them. You have to spread that light out to fill the space. It gets dimmer and dimmer. So our sun is, they tell us, 8 light minutes away, right? And it's the size of a coin held at arm's length. If the sun was right over us, cloud height, it would fill the whole sky. That's all you'd be able to see. Move it 8 light minutes away, and it's the size of a coin. Double the distance. Could you see it? Probably not. No. Double that distance again, it's a light half hour. Double that entire distance again, it's a light hour. Okay? That's unfathomable. Now multiply that times 24. That's a light day. Now multiply that ridiculous number by 365. That's a light year. Yeah. And they tell us Polaris, our North Star, is 433 light years away, and we see it as bright as anything in the sky.
Yeah, that's why they say that light, it's weird. It can be a wave, it can be a particle, because they have no actual explanation how light travels.
Right.
In space. So yeah, cool. So, all right. Oh, could you find that video you usually show with how water distorts our perspective, and you talk a little bit about perspective, how a sun can set even on a flat Earth?
Sure. So let's just look at perspective for a moment. So when we see the sun going away, this is the sun going away, it's just going down, just like these streetlights are going down. But these streetlights aren't going down. These streetlights are level. And they merge into the horizon. So we got 1, 2, 3. See how they're getting closer and closer and closer and closer together? So let's say this is 20 streetlights. Could you see the 100th streetlight? No, you can't. It's gone. It's merged into the horizon. But what if I was standing underneath that 100th streetlight and you called me on the phone and say, what's that light? I'm like, it's right up there. And that's that. And we'll say that's my noon streetlight. That's my streetlight, my noon streetlight. Well, it's dark for you. You can't see it. If that was the only light on, you would be in the dark. But if that light came to you, it would go down to me. I would see it go down as it goes away, and you'd see it rise out of the horizon right up over your head. And then I'd call you and say, it's dark here. And you're like, what are you talking about? It's noon where I am. Okay? Time zones. It's just the sun coming by, getting pushed into the horizon. And you have to remember, there's 3 layers of vision. You got terrestrial, you got the atmospheric layer, and then you have the celestial layer. So when the atmospheric layer merges with the terrestrial layer, you can't see anything in it. But if you zoom in, you can then see it. Let me just show you that. I'm sure you've seen this, but for your other people, so where the sky meets the ground, right here, that's where. So I'm zooming in. So I'm taking this area and I'm making it bigger. And as I make it bigger, all of a sudden you can see, oh, there's a boat there, because I'm increasing the angular size. Right. And so now we'll watch this boat as I zoom out. These little waves in the foreground. See my finger here? These little waves are going to block the boat.
Yeah.
And then you've been brainwashed into thinking it's going over the horizon. Okay. But it's still there. But without a super zoom lens, you could argue with a glober all day. Oh, it's over the horizon. That's why you can't see it. And then you could do measurements if you knew the distance to that boat. And you'd say, well, we shouldn't be able to see it at all, even with a zoom lens. Because on a zoom lens, on a ball, things disappear over the horizon, and zooming in on them doesn't make a difference because you have a physical
barrier,
a physical barrier versus an optical barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Boat is gone. Gone because we're zooming out, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. So for the sun, I'll show you another one. This is my favorite. I show it and you can never see it too much. Is sunset. Is the Flat Earth Kitchen. I assume you want me to play?
Yeah. Well, with the sun.
This one.
Cool. Yeah, play that. But then play that. But then there's another video with a glass of water and an arrow.
Okay, I'll show you that. So this is my flat Earth counter. This is the path of the sun. We're looking at it from a celestial point of view, above the atmospheric layer. Now this could be a city skyline. Yeah, this could be just something opaque, city skyline, mountains, and it doesn't go below it. Now I have a terrestrial camera versus this celestial camera on the table. And if I showed you this first, I'd say, is this line level? You'd go, I don't think so. It looks like it's going down. And I'd say, is this sun going below this opaque object? And you'd be like, yep. And then if we look at it even a tighter view, is this line level? And you'd say, absolutely not. And is this going below this, which is at my eye level? And you'd be like, well, I guess so. So here is a real sunset versus mine. And as the sun is going away, it's going behind. This is the atmospheric layer, the opaque atmospheric layer. So when you zoom in on a terrestrial object, you can bring it back. But when something goes behind the upper layer, if you're below that upper layer, it's opaque. You can't zoom through it. Only when you're above that layer could you possibly zoom through it. But the problem is the intensity of the light. Light theoretically through space can go forever until it's too dim to see. But light in our atmosphere has resistance in the atmosphere, has opacity, has water vapor, pollution, all the things that would block your vision. And so a dimmer light would fade out due to that before it's a combination. A dimmer light going through the thick atmosphere, the atmosphere will block it. But even if the atmosphere was clear, that light's going to go farther away, get dimmer and dimmer, and then it's just going to fade out. So it was below freezing. The conditions need to be no humidity, below freezing mostly, and super clear. And the sun went down, down, down. Now, if we were spinning, it would just keep on going. But in 5 minutes time, it went from up here to right here, and then it stopped. And it sat here for 10 minutes. This is super sped up. It just sat here. Now, my friends are over here at the beach, and it's dark. The sun already set from the bottom up. But I'm still looking at the sun from altitude, and it just can't push through the air anymore. You know what the Glober's argument for this is? Photoshop. That I Photoshopped this. I live streamed this, okay? I've done it 7 times. You got to go to my sun fade out video playlist. I'm actually going to add a button on the app so people can access this. And I have the raw footage. I have the zoomed in footage. But the problem is, the argument is, I've never seen that. Well, let me ask a question. Have you been out when it's below freezing at altitude on a super clear day watching a sun that you can't see with your naked eyes? And the answer is no. Nobody does that except crazy Flat Earth Dave.
Yeah.
Actually, a few other people have filmed it since then.
Plus, we don't have the drone. If we had a drone, we would also
fly. And it's like, well, how come no one's filmed it in the past? I'm like, because consumer drones with 4K cameras and people questioning the globe are pretty, are pretty new. People have been questioning the globe forever, but having this technology, it's really new. And I probably can get all of the drone operators in the world and ask them if they've ever tried to film that. They'd be like, what are you talking about? Why would I, no one thinking of that, because the sun sets, it's gone, and then they just turn off the camera, but it's still there.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Next, the video with a glass of water.
Okay. The glass of water. Yeah. So that's the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. So, the water, I haven't pulled that one up in a while. Well, here, why I'm looking for that. This guy is facing
that's cool also.
Straight forward. Now, look, this is how we see the moon. His belly is the face of the moon. So we're over here. And as the moon, moves across our sky, we're moving. Watch it. He's always facing that way.
That direction, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why we all see the same face of the moon, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Of course, we have to believe that there is water in the sky.
Well, there's a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence for that. The optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. No. So here you got your two
Basically,
arrows.
we have no idea what's going on up there.
Right. And so we can speculate, do tests.
We don't know whether right is right and left is left, and nothing.
Yeah. Well, look, the arrow just changed directions. Yeah. Okay. And when we move the water glass, which way does the arrow go? It's like it outran it. Okay. So again, the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. And people are like, well, the moon is round, and it's like, did you measure it? Do you know how big it is? Right? Do you know what shape it is? Are these two tables the same width and length?
Yeah, that's so cool.
So this is the thing. I'm going to show you that they are exactly the same. And even after I'm done showing you, your brain can't sort it out.
No. It's still unbelievable. You're saying, no, you photoshopped it, you changed the thing.
They're both the same size. And normally when you're shown an illusion, you're like, oh, I see it now. Yeah. Okay. I can't see it.
No.
Okay.
No.
So unless you can touch it and measure it, the people go, well, the star rotation. Well, what is a star? How far is it? And how big is it? Nobody can answer that. Not even a flat earther. We can tell you that it's not 430 light years away. Mm-hmm. We can prove the brightness issues. If you ask me where the stars are, they're right here. They're miles away. Okay? They're miles away, and we see them relative to our personal atmospheric dome.
Yeah, I also think that, because you're right. When we're on a plane or the balloons that go way up, there are no stars.
Yeah, very few, if there are any. Sometimes it's a wandering star.
Which is really weird. And I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Until I heard you say that. You're on a plane. Night.
Yeah, I was on a plane from
sky.
California to Australia in the middle of the night. And I was excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be the best. Nothing. There was like 3 or 4 lights out there. And I think they might have been planets, but they might have been another plane too. I'm not even sure. Probably planets. And I was like, I was like just disappointed.
Yeah, you don't think about it.
No. I was like, well, there's some excuse that somebody knows, and I'm just too stupid. It's if the heliocentric model was right, the whole sky should have been illuminated.
Yes. Yeah, because we don't have any light pollution, from cities and stuff like that.
That alone, like if you've gone stargazing in the middle of nowhere on top of a mountain, on a clear night, it's amazing. The whole Milky Way, just everything, and all the things that we think are satellites, which are really just lights. We don't know what they are, moving around, and it's so amazing. Well, from an airplane in the middle of the Southern Ocean, in the middle of the night, it's everyone should have their face plastered against the window for the entire flight, right? Instead, nothing.
And then you say, no, fuck it, I'll go to sleep.
Yeah, go to sleep. That's it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Nothing. Next question. Why do we have meteor showers in August? At least here in Greece we have. I'm pretty sure everywhere else.
So meteor showers. Meteor showers are very interesting. They tell us that a meteor shower is
an actual rock.
Well, no. It's a grain of sand. The big meteors are the size of like a small nut or something. Okay. But that a comet had gone past the Earth, and then we went through the dusty trail of that comet, and the dust comes into our atmosphere as meteors, right? With me? And they burn up. You know, if they were big, they'd be fireballs and stuff. And that was cool. But every August, whatever, second week in August or whatever, there's the Perseus meteor shower. I might have the name wrong. Well, we're corkscrewing through space, right? We're traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return where we were before. How do we always go through that same dusty trail? And then
they say the whole solar system follows.
The whole
solar system is still it all moves, simultaneously. So
that is the dumb story, bro. Okay, it's ridiculous because a comet going by is not in relation to the Earth, right? Maybe it's orbiting the sun.
No, they're orbiting. They say it used to be a planet between Mars and Jupiter. So every August, Earth passes that orbit where all the smithereens from that planet are. So every August we pass through there, and
not true. It's all. Well, here's the other thing. So we're here in the north, and we watch meteor showers. They all come down, right? They come down to where we are. They'll come down. Sometimes you see them going like this, right?
No.
Coming across. No, you see them, you can see them shooting across, but they all go across and down, or even straight down. Never ever do you see them shoot up from the horizon, right? Because if we're on a ball, they'd be coming from all different directions. Every direction they'd come. So some areas, like if I'm seeing them come down, somebody on the opposite latitude should be seeing them going up at the same time. Like if I'm hearing, Connecticut, somebody in Brazil should see the opposite of what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
But do we have, or do we hypothesize of what that might be? If not,
yes.
that.
So there's so much research done out there. We live in this electric magnetic world. We live on this dielectric plane of inertia. These are electrical phenomena that we're seeing mostly, in my opinion. And, if you look into sprites happen. These are some sort of electrical phenomena that happens, and it could have to do with the waters above. One of our researchers years ago, Carly Sunshine, she filmed water dripping down her windshield on her car. It was drizzling, and then the water would build up, and then it would drip down. And it looked just like meteors. It was amazing. So maybe it's some sort of melting of the firmament. And pieces are shooting down, and I don't know. Again, the sky has a positive charge. Earth has a negative charge. There's all sorts of electrical interference going on. Maybe it's some sort of synapse, something. It's above my ability to understand what it is, but it's not particles of dust coming from a comet trail flying into our world.
Right. Cool. Now let's go to the dome. So, and the dome. So, there are these CIA documents, and also the Encyclopedia Americana before the 1958.
Yeah.
That they mentioned that they have found the dome. They measured it. Here are the measurements. Here's the latitude. Here's the whatever. And so, what about that?
That's the truth. It was Project Fishbowl in the 50s, 60s, whenever it was. They were shooting, they said nuclear bombs, but I don't believe in nuclear bombs. They were shooting bombs up at the sky to try to blow a hole in the firmament. Okay. For a long time, they were doing it. Many, many, many bombs. That's crazy. But, you're talking about the 1958 Encyclopedia Americana, which you can't even find a copy anymore. It said in Antarctica that at 85 degrees north, the dome ceiling, or the dome, I forget which word they used, is at 13,000 feet. And there's tons of reports about this. So again, is there a dome? I think there is. Is it solid? I don't know. Is it energetic? I don't know. Okay. There's something keeping us contained. Okay. We're inside of something. Does it terminate? I don't think so.
What do you
Maybe
mean?
it does. So if it terminated, we're stuck in a snow globe and there's no way out. I don't know. I kind of am a believer that there's more worlds beyond Antarctica. And here's the thing, don't believe me, because I might be wrong. We just should have the right to go explore Antarctica where we're not allowed to. Right? Yeah. There's no one is allowed to explore Antarctica. But what if the world was set up like this? We live right here in the center of this pond. And then we got another pond 10, 20,000 miles away, another pond, another pond. Each one of these ponds are other worlds. Well, those are extraterrestrials from the outer space, from the extra territory across the Earth plane. Now, is this true? I'd bet on it, but it's physically...
That's more plausible than, the infinite balloon.
It's physically possible, but infinite space or even space itself is not possible. It's scientifically provably not possible. The problem is they never taught us to think like that. They taught us to memorize, regurgitate the books written by the bankers.
And what's the other? You have one more model of the extraterra, the rings around Antarctica.
Yeah, let me, I can pull that up over here easier. So in my app here, if you go to the images and you scroll down, like this one you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we live here, right? We live in the center area. And then out here is extra territory, extra terra. So if somebody came in, captured you, abducted you, did all sorts of experiments on you, and then dropped you in the middle of a field, and they can make it back home for dinner with the kids in the same day. Okay? They're not going through infinite space. All of these UFO people, there's so many researchers out there, the Disclosure Project, which we had here in the United States with Stephen.
Okay, that's fishy. But there are so many other people that, they say they have seen or they believe in aliens. That's possible,
They're here. I mean, aliens coming from the closest star is unfathomable versus distant stars, right? They're flying through unnavigable, scientifically impossible, empty space and then crashing.
They bend space and time. So, they're here. Yeah. Cool story, bro. Anyway, yeah. In the end, when we discuss in the end why the lie, but I want to leave it for the end.
All right, wait.
I have something about it.
Just finishing. Those people that are trying to get disclosure, if they're for real, they have to stop looking into impossible space. Look in the outer space, right here, right? Mm-hmm. There are extraterrestrials, in my opinion. There's tons of evidence. There's more land. They're hiding more land. Okay.
Yeah. What's my problem with this model? That the people who are living, if the people who are living, the outer ring, why would they agree to just move, in their world around in circles and not to have access, towards the center?
Well, there's a couple books if you in the book section on the app. The Iron Republic, The Navigator Across the Ice Wall. These books are tell you a good reason why. The Iron Republic is a story about a U.S. Politician who got fed up with the system in the 1800s, bought a ship, went to Antarctica, got through one of the passages by accident, was lost at sea for a couple months, and they found land and they saw a city and a boat came out to greet them. And it was an advanced civilization. But he's writing about this in the late 1800s. And he ended up staying there for years. He got married and something happened and his wife died and he was really depressed, whatever. And he came back. But the story is the people that lived out there used to live in the inner space where we are. And they said in the 1600s, but there was tyranny going on. So they all picked up and left. They said, we don't want to be under this tyranny. So they picked up and left. And they're out there and they don't want anything to do with us. Right. And so he was writing about, they had flat screens, flat, like iPhone type things and all sorts of technology, which we didn't have back in 1800s and 1901 when this was published. And so whether it's true or not, he was talking about advanced things that didn't exist with more land beyond Antarctica back in 1901.
But do we share the same sun?
No, different sun. So there's a
but the magnetic center, it's still in the North Pole.
So we have
even for the outer rings.
Sure. For our outer rings, yes, the magnetic center, but it has their own sun. So the story is, for those that don't know, our sun was born in the north. If you read the Bostock Saga, that's where life started. So imagine this whole pond is frozen solid. And all of a sudden, the sun is born under a star. Well, that can only be the North Star because all the other stars move, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So it creates a puddle right here. And everyone lives here. And then the sun starts to oscillate out farther and farther. So it oscillates all the way out here where it oscillates now. In December, it's out here over Capricorn. And in June, it's here over Cancer. And so as it does that and rotates around, it's like a rotisserie chicken. It melts this whole area, right? So anything in between the two tropics is really hot. Anything outside is more temperate, okay? You and I we're in the summer right now, but as the sun moves out, it'll move out and we'll get colder and Australia will get warmer. So what if all of a sudden one day this sun said, you know what? I'm no longer going to migrate here. I'm going to migrate out here. Well, what would happen? If our sun stopped doing that, went out here, well, all of this
the new sun would be born.
Well, without a new sun, it just goes out there and all of this freezes over. Now we're frozen. It's dark. What are we all going to do? We're all going to migrate south. South is every direction away from the center. So we all migrate out here to this new outer melted ring. This is a barren ice land like they tell us Antarctica is. And then decades later, years later, minutes later, centuries later, who knows, a new sun is born. Sun comes up. Everyone that's still remaining goes, my savior, my God, the sun. And now they're living here with no knowledge of this outer world. The outer world has knowledge of the inner world, but the inner world has no knowledge of the outer world. And they have an ice tundra separating them.
I just had an epiphany. In Greek mythology, at least, I'm aware of the Greek mythology. So in the beginning, it was Uranus, yeah? And then Uranus gave birth to Saturn. And then Saturn kicked, Uranus away and he became king. And then Saturn gave birth to Jupiter. And then Jupiter kicked his father away, Saturn. And then Jupiter became king. So if, Uranus or whatever, he was born in the, the North Pole and then migrated further. Then a new star was born, Saturn. And then Saturn also migrated. And then Jupiter was born. And, Jupiter was God. And before Jupiter, Saturn was God. And before Saturn, Uranus was God. And then these suns have migrated further and further away. And they are the suns of the outer ring.
Imagine if this sun out here was Mars. This sun here is our sun. But this sun is Mars. And in our dome of vision, the way we see the sky, we would see it as a little star.
Yeah, because it's further away.
Right. Now, if you got into advanced aircraft and you flew away from our pond, you'd be flying through darkness for a while, and that little star would get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden you would see, oh, that's Mars, but it's really a flat puddle.
Yeah.
When in reality, you're not flying through space, outer space. You're flying through, the Earth space.
And do you think that would require one dome or several domes?
The navigator that crossed the ice wall story talks about each pond has its own energetic dome, and then there's a master dome over the whole thing. Interesting, very interesting. Yeah. I want the right to go explore.
Yeah.
Right? We want airships back like there used to be, okay? But they demonize that because, if they have airships, they don't need refueling and they can go explore where they want. We don't want that because maybe that's how the Iron Republic people left. Maybe they all left in airships.
Who knows? Okay.
Who knows? Who knows?
All right. Another question. I need a bowl, I think, to show it to you. Anyway, why don't flat
Wait a minute.
Earth?
Wait. Before hold that question for a second.
Yep.
You were on Greek mythology, so we have Atlas, right? Remember him holding up the Earth? If he's in heliocentric space, what's he standing on?
He was spinning.
Yeah, what's he standing on, holding the Earth? When in reality, the original story was he's holding up the sky. Mm-hmm. They changed it. He was holding up the firmament. Yeah. Right? Yeah, he was holding up the sky, and then they put a globe in his hands, and they literally changed it.
Yeah.
Right? You know, in the
Egyptians,
Egyptians, they have the same story. Their god is holding up the sky.
Yeah, no, I know all ancient civilizations believed in a flat Earth and a dome.
Right.
Everyone. Okay, so my next question is, why don't flat Earth researchers navigate Antarctica, even though I know that beyond the 60th, degree parallel, they're not allowed to go because of the Antarctic Treaty. But why can we try to go around, the ring of Antarctica, even if it's, you say they have.
We're not allowed to get farther than 60 degrees south. They won't let you go farther.
No, but can we at the 60th degree?
It's 1,000 miles away. You can't see it.
No, I know we won't be able to see it, but at least we can tell that circle on the 60th parallel.
How are you going to measure your distance? How are you going to measure? Right.
With some measurement on a ship?
Well, the only thing they can use is GPS, and that's run by NASA.
They can only use GPS?
What else are you going to use? You're going to run a tape measure?
How did they map the world, before GPS? How did they measure, nautical miles before GPS?
It's a good question, but it's not easy to measure it out there, and they don't let you close enough to where you can accurately do it with.
I know, but still, if you think about it, that's why I want a bowl where we find it.
But how about this? Just let us fly 2 airplanes around it at the same time in opposite directions, or take 2 boats around the shoreline. They won't let us because Captain Cook tried it, and it took him 3.5 years, and he went over 60,000 miles. Right? The equator is only 24,000 miles. Antarctica is only 10 to 13,000 miles around. How the hell did he go 60,000 miles? Oops, I'm back.
You're frozen.
You froze. It was you. It was you.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Here's my argument. Why don't we try, let's say that this is the 60th parallel, whatever. That circle on the 60th parallel, it's still smaller than the edge of, the flat Earth, our pond.
How are you going to prove it?
By measuring the.
How are you going to measure it?
How long it took you? I don't know.
How long? Wind currents, boat currents, water. You don't know how long it took you.
It's still a pretty, big difference.
But if you say how long it took you, that's like saying, you don't know the speed you're going. How do you know the speed that you're going? Now, a cruise ship, sure, like you can fake flights because you get tailwinds, you can go different speeds and one never know it. But like a cruise ship only goes, let's say, 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour.
It's unreliable. Yeah, I see.
It's unreliable, and it's not it's not easily done. There's a sailboat race that just happened, and we're making a video on it, which is called, I think it's called the Antarctic Sailboat Race, and we're converting it onto a flat Earth map. It only makes sense on a flat Earth map.
Yeah. Another thought, why don't we take a plane, and since we're not allowed to do this, why don't we try to do this?
That's what everyone does. They sail around, like what's her name? Amelia Earhart, right? Amelia Earhart, her trip, she circumnavigated the world. She just made a circle. That's east to west, though. East to west, right? So if you go from the north to the south and come back to the north, that works on a flat Earth and a globe Earth. It works the same. What you have to do, circumnavigate, would mean you'd have to go here, cross the 60th parallel, get shot out of the sky, fly over here, and magically pop up over here. Never been done. Nobody's ever done this. Right? And the one guy, Sir Ralph, or whatever his name is, he's a royal guy who does expeditions and has gotten caught faking accidents, faking stuff. And when you actually look at their trips, one of them like went here. I think the guy was. I have a video on it on under the Antarctica button. He went here. He went like over here, and then he went over here, and he was picked up, and went like to Africa, right? But he didn't go here and magically pop up over here like a Pac-Man.
Yeah, and find himself in Australia or something. Yeah, absolutely. Dave, how much time do you have? Because I have some questions that I really want to ask you.
We can go a little bit. You're my last interview of the week.
Cool. Thanks. All right. What are the best globe arguments that gave you a pause to think, if any?
Let me give you the best flat Earth argument, which might answer your question. There are no globe arguments. There are no globe proofs.
When you were researching, still,
well,
and you weren't aware of
I questioned all of them. The best argument they have is, what about Southern Star Trails? Okay, yes. It's a horrible argument. Prove to me what a star is, how far it is. I can prove to you that it's not what they tell us. Prove to me that it's a physical object. And until you can do that, I don't care if they make figure eights and tie bows in each other, okay, in their trails. It doesn't prove anything.
Also, the optics with the water, maybe it's I don't remember who said that theory, that the southern stars are reflected on the dome, so they see them going opposite directions because of the water.
I think that the southern stars are a reflection of the northern stars. I'm not convinced that
the dome.
Yeah, that all of the lights we see in the sky aren't coming from the center of the Earth, being projected up like a planetarium. Okay, I don't know. Okay,
no one knows. Yeah.
But in the frequently asked questions, if you go to the Antarctica and the 24-hour sun button,
I'm a subscriber, Dave.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. But this is for people that are watching. Watch these videos. Watch these videos about that. And then there's also, that's not actually the one. There, Southern Star rotation. That button. Hit that one. And there's a bunch of good videos. But oops, that's not what I wanted. There's one video that I recommend that you might not have seen, if I can find it. The guy in Australia years ago, he made a model. It's on here. I'll try to move it up on the list, but he made a great model, and literally a physical model with a dome, and he showed how the reflection of the northern stars create counter-rotating. It was beautiful.
Is that guy with a weird accent that I can't understand, with the whiteboard that he's explaining, every week he has a new physics lesson on flat Earth?
What are you talking about? Del from About Beyond the Imaginary Curve?
No.
But
anyway, I'll find him on YouTube.
When you talk about a funny accent, is it my funny accent, which I don't think I have?
No. I think he's Australian. I think he's Australian, but really,
all Australians have funny accents.
No, he's beyond.
Send me a link if you come across it, and I'll tell you if that's him. But
if you give me just one moment, because I'm subscribed on his YouTube channel. So
no problem.
Give me one moment, I'll find him.
You could send it after.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that. All right. What's up with Eric Dubay? I don't want to go into I don't know if something personal has happened, but does he advocate a slightly different model or not?
I don't know. I think Eric Dubay, to say he even has a model, I believe he believes there's a dome. I could be wrong. But he knows the Earth is flat and stationary. He's got tons of great proofs. I've never spoken to the guy.
Yeah, I noticed that it's like different schools, and I'm saying, is it a personal thing? I don't like your breath or whatever, or there are actual differences?
Eric doesn't play nice with others. That's basically what I say about him. So I don't know what it is. I take his good work and I pass it around and I share. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. He has accused many of us as being government shills, and I don't know about anybody else. I know about myself. When he says that I'm a paid agent working for the Jewish mafia or whatever, I know that his research is lacking, because, none of that's true. No one has ever told me what to do. And anyone that has, I didn't listen.
All right, fine. I didn't want to go into personal
Yeah,
details.
no problem.
I wanted to know whether there was an actual difference in the model, you know.
I have no problem. He may have a problem. I don't know. It's not my concern.
Fine. It's fine.
But another thing, flat earthers, we have dome, not dome, extended plane, more land, not more land, biblical. It's all.
We don't know.
That's fine. But we all know it's not an impossible space ball with water on the outside, right?
Yeah.
Del from the Imaginary Curve, he asked the guy, he goes, if I gave you a rock, a gallon of water, and a vacuum chamber, could you make a floating rock with water surrounding it? You know, it's a kind of a stupid question, but that's what you have to understand. You know, water in a vacuum boils. Air in a vacuum is not a vacuum.
No. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We are taught a model that there is absolutely no way to prove it. So we have to believe.
No, but there's way to disprove it. Yeah, like just the fact, you know, that do the math, Polaris stars, that's physically impossible. We shouldn't be able to see any of them. And then going up in an airplane in a heliocentric world where we can see all the stars from the ground, they should be magnitudes brighter outside, you know, at the higher upper atmosphere in the total darkness, but they're not. That's a problem. And people go, just like you and I did when we noticed there's no stars. We're like, oh, well, can I have another drink, please?
A cappuccino, please. No.
Yes.
No, we also say, because, you know, I like science. I also used to say, you know, my level of education is not.
I'm not a scientist. You defer.
Exactly. I'm sure they have figured that out. You know, there is a law.
It's called the submission to authority fallacy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. The people that have the degrees are the most indoctrinated.
Yeah, and the most closed-minded people I've ever met. Yeah. Anyway, let's discuss that in the end. Now that we are discussing about models, and I ask you about Air Dubai, there are these guys. I don't remember their.
Tell me what they do. I'll tell you who they are.
What else? I have them here. Anyway, whatever. That they advocate for a simulation on a flat Earth. I haven't exactly understood what they're saying, but they have this. I have noted down 4 arguments that I found, you know, worthy of discussion. They say, so first, the speed of sun would have to change by 70%, you know, speed between summer and winter if it was circling around the Earth. Because they advocate that the Earth is flat and the sun has a linear.
Yeah, but let me counter argue that the atmosphere is moving with the Earth. So sound is relative to the wind. Like if there was a 50-mile-an-hour wind and I was downwind of you, you wouldn't hear me. It'd be much harder to hear me because the wind would take my sound away. If I was upwind, you could hear me downwind easily.
Yeah.
So if the world is going 1,000 miles an hour with the atmosphere.
No. Wait, no. They think the Earth is flat. They don't think the Earth is
okay.
They think the Earth is flat.
Okay.
Flat.
Yeah.
But they don't believe that they don't think the sun and the moon are rotating, you know, around us. They say the sun and the moon is a simulation or, you know, electric, whatever. So the Earth is flat. The sun rises in the east, goes straight to the west, and then because it's a simulation or whatever, it pops up again at the east. Yeah, but they have some arguments that they say that, you know, this model that we are discussing cannot answer. Like, you know, the sun goes faster when it's the south, you know, further away, and slower.
Well, they say we can't answer it. I could answer it. I mean, you know, there are answers. I don't know if it's the right answer. If you were holding a light, you're the source of the sun, and the light on the floor is the sun that we see. Yeah. Right? Okay. Yeah. So I put it 3 feet in front of me, and I spun around once per minute. I just drew a circle on the floor, 6 foot in diameter. So I just drew a 6 foot diameter circle. Now, if I just angled that flashlight just a little farther out, so now it's 6 feet out, and I spun around at the same rotation, Same one once around per minute. I just drew a 12-foot radius circle, diameter circle, 12-foot diameter circle. Okay. I didn't change speed. The source of the sun just changed its position.
Nah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the reflection sped up, but nothing else sped up. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no change in inertia or energy or anything. It's just where the sun is being focused.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me get back. I'm not against these guys. Let me just tell you.
You know who I'm talking about?
No,
Awaken Souls, I think.
Oh my God. Please don't say that name because it kills brain cells.
Please,
these two are the dumbest guys on the internet, all of the internet. The two dumbest guys ever. Okay. They're unbelievable. They think I'm a Jesuit priest. They think I photoshopped the sun fade out. They think that oh my God, there's so many crazy things that they think.
Okay,
it's so stupid. But let me tell you something. They think that the sun.
I want to stay in the argument. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the argument. But I never ever mentioned their names. Those who shall not be named. It's so stupid. But we are, you believe there's a creator, and you believe that you're not just this meat suit. When you leave this meat suit, you go to the heavenly realm, and maybe you come back, or maybe you go to another pond, right? You believe something like that. So that in itself is some sort of a simulation, right? We're here like avatars, right? So I call it a physical simulation, right? Like I can, if we were standing next to each other, I could punch you, okay? All right, that's gonna hurt. Okay, it's a physical simulation. We're here in this energetic world. Our thoughts create our reality. Everything you have in your life is from the way that you think. You've created this podcast just by thinking about it. You've created everything you have in your life. You've manifested into your life. Things come at people make inventions because of their creativity. They don't want us to know that's how this world works, because then we'll figure it out that it is, for lack of a better word, magical. Okay. This world that we live in, like our health, if you believe in disease, you will get disease, right? If you think properly and have the right attitude, you can change anything. There's people that like don't eat, breatharians, right? They figured it out. Okay. There's so much. So is that a simulation? Simulation is a strong word, but I think we're in some sort of matrix, if you will, right? But this is an experience. We're in a school where we're learning how to operate. We're all part of the creator. Okay, we're all like individual cells of the creator, creating this whole world, and we can make it for what it is. But again, our world is not what it seems. Like if you look into the Tartaria stuff, have you looked into Tartaria and the giant trees and everything?
Yeah, but Iwaranon just changed his tune.
So Iwaranon, he's making some good points, and some of the stuff he's saying is true, and some of the stuff I don't agree with. I didn't agree with all the stuff he said in the beginning, and I don't agree with all the stuff he's saying now. Okay, so he was showing one recently about how bricks could be made, but
I'm watching everything because I want to see where he's going.
Yeah, but here's another thing. I have another problem. If we don't know who you are and see your face, I have to say, hold on. I'm not gonna believe everything you're saying, right? He is an unknown person. Nobody knows who he is. So is it possible he's been it's not him? But not even bought. I mean, they can take 30 minutes or 20 minutes of my voice and then make me say anything you want and you would think it's me saying it. They have the technology to do it. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying that's the case at all.
It doesn't really matter because we really don't know. We really don't.
What I'm saying is he's not explaining some of the many of the things that we see. Now, yeah, he's got a couple things right, a lot of things right. But I'm not buying his full explanation of how these things were done at these times. And even if he is right, all of our history is a lie anyway. So even if he's totally right, it's all a lie anyway. So again, this world appears to be a wasteland that we're living in like the aftermath. If you look into the giant trees, I think he's still on board with the giant trees. It doesn't matter if he is or isn't. The giant trees are incredible. There's a new video out. This guy showing this huge rock situation. He says, this is a branch of a tree and it's rock. But then he found an area of the rock where you break the rock away and it's wood. And you can see that it was a tree. And he's like, the base of the tree is across that basin. And it's like, I don't know, 10 or 50 miles around. Okay. The base of the tree is like 50 miles in circumference, right? What happened to this place? I have no idea. Amazing.
That's sad. I would really like to know.
Yeah, well, see, that's the other thing. We're here, and maybe the whole thing was done on purpose. Maybe the creator did it so we can try to figure it out, you know? And the way I look at it, you know, the Earth was created. Like, let's say you're going to create this place for humans. You're a creator. You create this amazing Earth plane. What are you going to just throw some people down there and go live in caves until you figure out free energy? Good luck, you know? Or are you going to lay down some infrastructure for them? Okay. Like if you bought a couple gerbils or a fish tank, you're going to throw in some infrastructure for the guys, right? Set them up a little bit, right? So
because in the Bible, they do say that they get, no.
Isn't there like kingdoms in the Bible? They talk about kingdoms.
Satan gave us knowledge.
Yeah,
it was the apple that gave us the knowledge.
If I was the creator of the world, I'd throw down some kingdoms for you, okay? Just say, because that's just the way I am.
Yeah. All right. So, why does the sun rises? Now in South Africa and in the southern part, why does the sun rises southeast?
Yes.
And not east.
You froze again. Oh, you're freezing.
Again? You're not. I can see you and hear you.
All right, you're good now. So why does the sun rise in the southeast and the south? Is that your question?
Yeah.
It's because of, again, you have to look at understand what the personal atmospheric dome is and the way we see the sun, right? And the way we see directions. So when I'm looking east, I'm looking south.
Yes.
Because the east curves away.
Yeah.
When I'm looking west, I'm looking south. Because west curves away. And then there's the optics. Again, we're back to the optics of the sky. Wish I remember where I had this video. The optics of the sky, where it wraps around. There's a globe Earth guy that created this model that shows you how the optics work, and it works the same on a ball and a flat Earth, and it puts the sun south of Capricorn. It puts it south of Capricorn.
Is it on your app, that video?
It is. I just got to think where it is. I'm having a brain fart right now. The app is. I would look at it. It's probably in. It's probably in Antarctica and the 24-hour sun. It's in there, or where does the sun go? I don't know. I have to figure out where it is. I've been moving so many files around. It's okay. Unbelievable.
If it's on your app, I'll find it.
Yes. So
that's the same reason why they're asking why the sun is traveling on a straight line during the equinoxes. That's the same reasoning.
Well, again, you have to understand where east is, and we see the sun at the edge of our personal atmospheric dome. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what do I mean by that? Like on a clear day, you see a certain distance and then that's it, because the horizon, that's it. And then you see the sun climb that steep dome, slows up at the top as it goes over you, and then speeds up down to the bottom until it gets to the bottom. And then it kind of just sits there as it goes away, because we're seeing it over our 180-degree dome. And I believe that distance from left to right is only a couple hundred miles that we see the sun. So it's not whizzing by. And because it's curving around, we see it it goes on the opposite side of that dome, depending on where it is relative to the
North or south.
the zenith of that dome, right? You're under the center of your dome. If it's in or out, it appears on the other side. Get a dome and get a light and move it around, and you'll see the light goes the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. So again, the optics of the sky,
they're still optics,
are no way to prove the shape of the Earth. Hey, hold on, maybe this is it. Yeah, here we go. Watch. So, well, this is actually it. But here's the sun. I'm just moving a light across, and it climbs over. This looks really good in person because it's like inside, and it looks like a ball. It looks like a sphere. It's really just a little pen light, and then it stops, and it fades out. It never goes below.
Yeah.
And then when I bring it back, all of a sudden the sun. We're standing here in the middle. The sun appears on my horizon. It rises over me. I'm standing here. And then it goes away. I'm moving that sun in a straight line. Now, if I moved it forward or backwards relation to this glass dome, it would move and do the opposite.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah. Cool, huh? Cool video.
Yeah. Yeah. And then here, check this out. This is one of Chris Pontius's domes, one of his models. And I'm just moving the light around it. And this thing, again, it looks better in person. It's floating. It looks like a perfect sun floating. It's just the light from my iPhone. Okay. I did this. It was at a meetup, and I was just like, let me just see this. And it worked. I was like, whoa. And everyone's like, what the hell is going on? It was amazing. And it's literally floating in there. But again, this model doesn't have the atmospheric layer. No,
of course not.
Small.
Dave, where will I find a nice flat model for my sun? Because on Amazon, if you find one, it's teeny tiny, small.
Well,
I need a proper one.
I'll show you in a second. Here's we got our sun moving across. These is everyone's personal atmospheric dome. This little convergence point, that's where you're going to see the sun. So it's nighttime here. It's daytime. Whoop, let me get over a little bit. So it's noon there. It's noon here. It's noon there. It's noon there. So it's noon there. It's earlier there. It's morning here. Sunrise here. Sunset here. Whatever. And as it moves
What about
across,
subjective reality, eh?
Yeah, we all see the sun relative to
to where we are.
Yeah, I mean, just like think about the street lights. You're 5 miles down the street. You're standing under another light. Okay, and if those lights were just moving, the light was moving from one to the next, I would see it go down, and you would see it rise up as it comes towards you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I have to remember that this is in optics. It's in my optics folder. So here is just different points of view. This is done from the Great Eru in South America. And this is what we see from standing in a dome. It works. It's exactly what we see when we model it, right? Maybe this is the one of the video I was looking for. Okay, here it is. This is the model. This is the model. So this is the real sun up here. And the apparent sun, this is your personal atmospheric dome. So there's the real sun. Here's the sun that we see. We're standing here in the middle of this dome. And as the sun moves, watch, it comes up and it arches over south. Oh, actually, that's moving the dome right now. Now I'm moving it in and out. But here, now I think it's going to go now. All right, one point I move it over. All right, so now there it goes. It comes up and over, and now it lands south.
Do that again? Can you do that again?
Yeah. So let's see. So it moves all the way to over here. So depending on where you are, it's going to put those stars and the lights and the sun in a certain spot in the sky.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in the app to this model so you can play with it yourself. It's got all controls on it. It's very cool. I'll do that.
That's in optics. The video you just
It's in my. Oh no, it's on. That's not on the app. It's in my optics, my phone, and in my presentation.
All right.
But this video is in there. Is in the app somewhere. It is in there. It's in there
somewhere.
All right.
All right.
Wait, hey, one more thing. Just one more thing. Did you ever see this picture of the floating ship?
No.
How would you explain that, being a flat earther?
I don't know. Is it actually floating? No, it must be an optical thing, no?
Well, all the science magazines and newspapers are like floating ship. It's a mirage, and it's because of the cold and the warm and this and that. Notice the sky; it's very uniform. There's really nothing in the sky. This is the water, and there's wind just hitting this part of the water. From here out is really glassy water, and it's reflecting the sky. If I transition here, this is where the horizon is. I drew this line. And this is just ripply water versus glassy water mirroring the sky.
That's
cool. And the horizon's out here.
Yeah.
And the science people go crazy. It's a mirage and this and that and curvature of the earth and all nonsense, when in reality, it's just a little optical illusion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see this all the time.
Yeah. That's very cool. That's very nice. Okay, the last point I wanted to ask you, if you're aware, is that in ancient civilizations, the Japanese, the Indians, definitely the Greeks, and also in the Bible, they mentioned people before the time of the moon. So they're saying that the moon came much later. Are you aware of that?
I like it.
You like it?
I like it. That's all I got.
Okay. I was hoping you had some insight.
You know what? It's interesting. I don't think the moon is a chunk of the earth or another rock or anything like that. It's connected to life on earth. It's connected to the reproductive cycle of women, right? You're aware that your menstrual cycles follow the moon.
You know what's weird? Because I'm a psychologist, and I have also studied astrology. The weird thing is that the moon is always associated with the unconscious, what you don't know, the dark side,
right. The cycle of the moon is the same as a woman's cycle.
Yeah.
And a lot of women that are connected with nature and not lost in the Wi-Fi world of the soup of this crazy electronic world we live in, they sync up with the moon. They sync up with each other. Okay. Mm-hmm. I have no proof of anything I'm saying. I'm just saying there's evidence. There's things that say, well, there's something to this, that the moon somehow is responsible for the delivery and removal of souls. All right. When I say delivery and removal of souls, I mean the manifestation of a soul into a human body. Want to call it a simulation? Feel free. Okay. And that it has something to do with it. Right. I try not to celebrate my birthday. I try to celebrate my day of creation close to, and so that's like when my mom was pregnant, whatever the closest full moon was after at that time, that's when I was created. I don't know. It's interesting. Okay. Because if you only celebrate your birthday, you're not honoring the 9 months of life before that.
Yeah. The problem is you're not exactly sure. I mean, your mother is not exactly sure that, what day it was when she conceived.
What are you saying? She was like very promiscuous and doesn't know what day it was?
No.
What are you saying about my mother?
Every single person on earth. I happen to know when I conceived because I didn't have sex before or after. But if you are in a relationship, you can know exactly the day. All right.
So I'm just saying that it's not exact. It's close enough for me. It's something that I'd like to focus on, but it doesn't really matter. The whole point of the thing is, the moon is not a rock floating in space that's controlling women's cycles. No. It has to do with life on Earth. I don't believe that we can live in outer space, right? Think about this. If you are, they put you in solitary confinement in jail, there's still people around you, but it's horrible in solitary confinement. Think of people on space, like the space shuttle. They're so far removed from humanity. I don't think people could survive in space for any time at all, even if you could get there. I think you'd be so lonely and not just lonely, disconnected from this thing that keeps us alive. I think we can only exist here on Earth. Like when you take a 15-hour plane ride, you're a mess. It's horrible being in that tube, even with all the other people, right? Yeah. For 15 hours. Yeah, it's like you lose something. because we're supposed to be connected to this earth. We're part of the earth.
Connected. We are connected.
We are.
We need to ground ourselves. Otherwise, get sick.
You're a psychiatrist or a counselor? What? Psychologist. So some people have depression, right?
Yeah.
People are depressed. I think that, have you ever seen a depressed flat earther?
I don't know many flat earthers, unfortunately.
So are you using the friend finder? It's time.
No one is here. I mean, there are three people.
Where are you located?
And they haven't subscribed because they don't reply to my messages.
All right. By the way, by the end of July, we're putting a new messaging service on there. It's literally like Telegram meets iMessage. You're going to be able to message them, send images, links, videos, voice calling, video calling, group calling. It's going to be amazing. All right. And so you'll get more and more people. Where are you located?
Athens, Greece.
Where's Greece? There it is. Greece. Yeah, not many, but we'll get more. All right. It's up to you.
One of those notes is me.
All right. Well, we'll get more people out there. When you if you're out there telling people about the app, make sure you use your referral number. You click that button, and these are the number of referrals that you have. And the number, it's going to give you a default number, but click there'll be a little edit button there, right? Click that, and you can put in a custom number, custom name, numbers or letters. You can put in your name, whatever you want, just so you can remember it. Like you tell someone to get the app, say, make sure you put in, code Maria. It's case sensitive. So just be careful however you type it. You can only change it once. Okay. So pick something you like.
Talk about determination.
And that way, when you, like, if you're making a video, then all of a sudden your phone it does a little animation. It'll be like, oh, new person. You'll get some encouragement, like, hey, this is working, and you'll make another video. Okay.
I'm desperate.
Right. Just listen. I'm putting you in charge of Greece. You are in charge of covering. I give you 1 year, so I can't see any of this land. Okay. I give you 1 year.
Okay. All right. And lastly, and we can finish here. Why the lie? The control and everything. But I think the more important than the control issue is that if they have you not trusting your senses and your common sense, so you're abandoning your senses and you are abandoning your common sense, then you're nothing. You're nothing. You're not yourself. And then you are dependent on someone else's expertise, yeah? Because you have no logic. What I understand, I don't understand it. What I see is not what I see. What makes sense, it doesn't matter. It's something else. So then, it starts with where we're standing. And then it goes, what makes me sick, how I'm sick, how relationships, everything. Then you don't trust yourself on anything. You need someone else to tell you what's what. Because, who are you?
Exactly. It's to make you feel insignificant. It's to make
so
you
sad.
Disconnect from your true power. They tell you in school, you only use 10% of your brain. That's because they don't want you using the other 90%. Right? They only have you using the 10% physical slave part of your brain. They don't want you using your creativity. They don't want you connecting with nature, connecting with the source.
No.
Also known as the force for you science fiction fans out there.
And you know what they say, that there is no way to connect with the source or God or whatever. If you live in a lie, there's no way you can connect.
Yeah, there you go.
So even if the rest of your life, you eat healthy, you're a good person, but it's a lie. What you think about this world is a lie,
then you have a poor connection at best.
Yes.
A poor connection.
How can you connect with the earth if you think the earth is something
that it's not? That is not
exactly.
There's the magic right there. And then when people, people get so frustrated. Well, it doesn't matter with all this nonsense going on in the world. Yes, it does. It does matter.
It's the most important thing.
It's how they got away with everything because people are lost in space believing in nonsense. If you can believe that you live on a magic space ball flying through an infinite impossible space vacuum, then you can believe that a boogeyman's flying through the air and a piece of paper is going to stop it from entering your body and killing you. Okay.
Yeah, and crooks can, are care for you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
So,
all right.
That's it. Anybody that wants to find out more, if you Google flat Earth, you're not going to find anything, right? They've really done a good job at hiding everything. And so the best way to find things, go to flatearthdave.com. There's the crash course there, great videos. There's the app. You can get the app if you want. It's $3, right? The subscription, if you want to be able to message people, and the messaging system is going to be insane.
Please subscribe so I have someone to, reply.
You can always put an email address in your message so they can reply back that way. Mm-hmm. All right. So check it out and take the challenge. Watch the daily video. Do you watch the daily videos? Do you watch the video every day?
I don't watch that every day.
Every day.
I go on.
The first time you touch your phone, just watch the video. They're short videos, one a day. Okay?
I've seen most of them already.
Are
these new or are they from the apps library?
Sometimes there's new ones. Today's an actual old one, but yesterday was a new one, and I have some new ones coming out. Sometimes I premiere stuff on there, but eventually it's out there. The question is, you have to find it. So this is just channeling it. But one of the greatest buttons is right here, the archive button, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're bored sitting down, forget television, turn it off for a year. You'll be so busy with this button alone. All of the videos there are hand selected. They're the best.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
Dave, thank you so much.
All right, Maria, thanks.
Here. And you'll edit it and send it to me?
Maybe.
Please.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.